Imagine descending into a place where sunlight has not reached for 1 billion years. The pressure crushes anything human-made. The cold gnaws through steel. The darkness is so complete that your eyes start inventing colors that are not there. You drift for hundreds of meters and see nothing until suddenly a soft cyan glow floats past your portal, then another. Then a curtain of pulsing dots passes along the side of an unseen fish like the lights of a slow motion liner. You are not hallucinating. You are looking at the most common form of communication on Earth. This is bioluminescence, the living light of the deep sea. Welcome back to Abyss Unknown. In this episode, we descend into the dark midwater of the ocean, the largest habitat on our planet, and explore how its inhabitants generate their own light. We will see why an estimated 80% of creatures here glow, how a chemical reaction inside a tiny organ can flash brighter than a city neon, why some of these animals carry living bacteria as flashlights, and why, after a century of study, scientists still cannot fully explain many of the patterns we see in the dark. The deep ocean begins where sunlight fades, around 200 meters below the surface. Below that line lies the Twilight zone, where blue light dims to almost nothing. Past 1,000 meters begins the midnight zone, where no sunlight reaches at all. Below 4,000 meters lies the Abyss, and below 6,000, the Haddle zone. Trenches so deep they could swallow Mount Everest with kilometers to spare. Together, these zones make up about 95% of all the livable space on Earth. Yet humans have explored less of them than the surface of Mars. In this vast, cold, black volume of water, sight should be useless. Yet almost every animal down here has eyes, and many of them are enormous, designed to catch the faintest spark. The reason is simple. There is light down here. They make it themselves. Humans have noticed glowing seas for thousands of years. Aristotle described shimmering plankton in shallow water. Sailors crossing the Indian Ocean told stories of milky seas so bright that entire ships seemed to float on snow. But the first scientific record of true deep-sea bioluminescence came in the early 20th century, when biologist William descended in his steel bathysphere off the coast of Bermuda. At around 900 meters down, suspended in absolute black, he watched creatures stream past his porthole, animals lit from within in colors he could not name. He called it the most wonderful thing he had ever seen. That single window, the size of a dinner plate, gave birth to modern deep-sea biology. Bioluminescence is not magic. It is a chemical reaction, simple enough to fit on a single line. A molecule called luciferin reacts with oxygen, helped by an enzyme called luciferase. The result is photons, light with almost no heat at all. This is why bioluminescence is sometimes called cold light. It is the most efficient natural light source known. Most of the goes into light, not warmth. Different species use different versions of luciferin. Some animals make the chemicals themselves. Others borrow them from bacteria that live inside special light organs, paying their guests in nutrients and shelter. The colors vary too. blue and green dominate the open ocean because those wavelengths travel farthest through water, but red, yellow, and even violet flashes have all been recorded by deep submersibles. Why glow at all? In the dark sea, light is a tool, and every species has invented its own use for it. A flashlight fish carries a glowing patch under each eye and switches it on to hunt prey or blind predators. The cookie cutter shark uses a faint green underside to erase its silhouette against the dim light from above, a trick called counter-illumination. The deep-sea anglerfish dangles a lit bait in front of its enormous jaws to draw curious victims close. Some squid release glowing ink as a smokescreen, leaving a confused, blinking cloud while they disappear into the black. Female firefly squidline parts of the Sea of Japan with millions of dots during mating season. Even single-celled dinoflagellates stirred, perhaps to attract a bigger predator that will eat whatever is eating them. Down here, every flash is a sentence in a language we are only beginning to translate. Despite a century of study, much about bioluminescence remains mysterious. Scientists estimate that this ability has evolved independently at least 40 different times across the more times than flight, vision, or photosynthesis. Why so often? Nobody knows. We still cannot explain why some species glow in patterns that no observed predator or mate seems to respond to. We have not yet identified the chemistry behind many deep-sea luciferins. They remain blank slots in the textbooks, and the milky seas reported by sailors, glowing patches the size of small countries, visible from orbiting satellites, are still not fully explained. Each new dive seems to come back with more questions than answers. Bioluminescence is not just biology, it has rewritten modern medicine. The green fluorescent protein, first isolated from a jellyfish on the Pacific coast of North America, became one of the most important tools in science. It now lets researchers tag cancer cells, watch nerves grow inside a living brain, and trace viruses in real time. 3 scientists shared a Nobel Prize with a single molecule. Other deep-sea luciferins are being studied for fast diagnostic tests, new antibiotics, even agricultural crops that glow when they are low on water. The dark ocean, it turns out, is one of the brightest libraries we have ever known. A place where evolution spent a billion years inventing chemistry our laboratories are still learning to comprehend. There is something humbling about a black ocean that quietly invented its own stars. Down there, no architect drew the constellations. No spotlight was rigged. Life simply decided that in the absence of the sun, it would make its own light. Every flash you see in the deep is a small declaration that survival, communication, and even beauty can all be built out of chemistry. Above the waves, we look up at the night sky and feel small, but beneath the waves, the night is alive. It blinks back at us. If this dive into living light made the ocean feel a little larger to you tonight, hit subscribe to Abyss Unknown. Every week we explore a